Welcome to another video, guys. Today I'm gonna do my best to give you guys a prediction on what might the best decks look like after the nerfs hit. We already have a pretty good idea of what the nerfs might be, and I'll go over that in the beginning of the video. And I'll also go over 5 decks that I think will really spike in popularity and in power after the nerfs hit. Before that, I just want to thank you guys for reaching 10,000 subscribers on the channel. My wife told me not to do it, but as a reward I will show you guys my baby. Isn't it beautiful? Anyway, hope you enjoyed the video, and if you do, a like and subscribe will be very appreciated. Now, let's get into it. Okay, so we basically already have a confirmation from Alec Dawson that we should be expecting 6 cards to get nerfed early next week. We're gonna have Mage, Paladin, Rogue, and Neutral cards getting nerfed. And my predictions for those cards would be, for Mage, Deck of Lunacy is gonna get nerfed for sure, maybe discounting the spells only down by 2, and also Refreshing Springwater might only return 1 mana per tick. For Paladin, obviously the 2 mana weapon has to get a nerf, and it might get down to only 2 durability or go up to 3 mana, even though if that happens, it's gonna make their curve a lot worse, because they always want to be curving into the 3/4 on turn 3. For Rogue, my guess would be Jandice, because she is way too powerful in this new pool. Right now there are literally only 3 bad outcomes for Jandice, because the pool of 5 drops is just this powerful. So she might either go up to 6 mana, or who knows, she might even start summoning 4 drops. In either case, she shouldn't be left in this state, because she can single-handedly decide games. For the neutral cards, obviously Penflinger has been flinging for way too long, and my proposition for a nerf there is that the 1 damage should go to a random enemy. And I think that might still save it as a card, and people might still play it. Other propositions for Penflinger have been bumping it up to 2 mana, or even not being able to go face with it. But I just believe that changes like that will just break the card as a whole, and nobody is gonna run it anymore. And the last nerfed card here should obviously be the 2/4 Watch Post, because it is just too disruptive as a 2-drop. On turn 2, there's only a handful of answers only some classes have for a 2/4 body, so I really think that the health for that tower should go down to 3, which is gonna be a lot more doable for a lot more classes. And let's not forget, it still gets to tick at least once, and your opponent has to waste their entire turn just to remove it, so I think it's still mission accomplished for that Watch Post. Okay, after knowing this information, now it's time to see what are the class popularities and what the meta looks like right now in Hearthstone. And it comes to no surprise that No Manian Mage is literally a quarter of all of the games all across. And in some ranks it's even a third of the games. Secret Libram Paladin and Secret Paladin also plague a lot of the ranks, especially from Diamond 1 to 5. And Miracle Rogue and Watch Post Rogue are also out there, even though not as much as the other 2 main offenders. So, since these are the 3 classes that are getting mainly targeted out of these nerfs, we can assume that if these decks were not as powerful, decks that are losing hard to those decks should see a rise in popularity. And one of them is already at the top anyway, which is the first deck I want to talk about, Control Warlock. Right now, one of the worst matchups for a Control Warlock would be a skilled Rogue. And you can see that Watch Post Rogue has an edge over it, even though these stats are very fair compared to the results I have been getting in top 100 Legends. And also Miracle Rogue is also doing okay against it. We can also see that Secret Libram Paladin is having a good time against Control Warlock. Just Secret Paladin is also doing quite alright, even though I have been beating him quite easily. And also No Minion Mage also has an edge over it at 55%, even though, again, I have better results than that. So after we remove all of these 5 bad matchups for Control Warlock, you can be sure that Control Warlock could definitely start feeling like Deck of Lunacy Mage in just a few days from now. I already talked about Control Warlock in my previous videos, and I already gave you a guide about it too, so I won't talk too much for Control Warlock in this video. I just want to mention that I do believe that Envoy Rustwix doesn't have room in the deck anymore. Rustwix would be a good card in this deck if control matchups were hard for you, but as long as we have Ticketus in its current state, you can be sure that you don't really need any more late game other than Ticketus. By the way, Dean Ayala did say that Ticketus might get a nerf after the first wave of nerfs comes, but at the speed which Blizzard is taking to nerf these cards, I'm assuming that Ticketus has at least 1 more month in the current state. And even if they nerf it, I still think it's gonna be a good card. Also, a lot of people stopped running Forge Ring in this deck and instead put in Siphon Soul. And also, instead of 1 Twisting Nether, you could fit in an Alexstrasza, but it really comes down to your personal preference. If you guys want to see me jam more Control Warlock in top 200 Legend, drop by the stream and you can see that. Now let's see the next deck that might get rise in popularity. We're already seeing a rise in popularity for Face Hunter, which is doing quite alright against mages, and I do believe it has even better stats than the ones shown here. But the real problem for Face Hunters right now would be Paladins, which is a very bad matchup for it. Secret Libram Paladin is also pretty hard, and also against Miracle Rogue it's having problems. and same goes for Watchpost Rogue. So again, if these matchups become a lot less frequent, I do believe that Face Hunter will see a big spike in popularity again. Currently, one of the most popular and best performing lists out there would be one that runs Penflingers, but if that card really bites the dust, you're probably gonna be better off switching it up for a couple of Imprisoned Felmaws. Stats go pretty wonky here, because we did see that in No Minion Mage it did say that Face Hunter is a 50-50, but here it's really a very decent matchup, and same goes for Rogues, where the situation is far less dire than the ones we showed from their stats. But as you can see, Paladin is definitely gonna be a huge problem for you if you wanna be jamming Face Hunter right now. But if that gets out of the way, it's gonna be a lot better for you. And you can also see that Control Warlock is gonna be a great matchup for you, which also speaks well for the deck. Priests are a really bad matchup for Face Hunter, but I do believe that Control Warlock is gonna be the bane of those anyway. So we shouldn't be seeing too many Priests as long as Ticketus Warlock is controlling the control decks. This Face Hunter has a ton of damage into it, but its main firepower comes from the Trampling Rhinos, which is a great tool to control the board with while still massaging the face area. You can copy extra Rhinos with your Warsong Wrangler, so you can have a total of 4 Trampling Rhinos, which can even get buffed up to 9 attack. You're also running the new Piercing Shot, which is again an excellent tool to control the board and face at the same time. It's a pretty cheap deck, so it's definitely worth checking out. Another deck I think is gonna be a lot better after the nerfs would be Aggro Shaman, which you can see is not doing great against No Minion Mage right now. It's doing horribly against Paladins, even worse against the just Secret Libram Paladin version, and it's going 50-50 with the Rogue. But yeah, Aggro Shaman can be a very scary deck, and if Paladins weren't so popular, I really think that this archetype is gonna skyrocket a lot higher than it is right now. There's a ton of damage in this deck, and there's not enough weapon removal in the meta right now, so the 2 Doom Hammers usually always stick. We can see in the matchup section that again, Control Warlock is a really easy matchup for it. But yeah, Paladins are really what's making this deck not work yet. Face Hunters are also not gonna be too great for it, so if those rise in popularity, that might be a problem. But all in all, I really do believe that Aggro Shaman will gonna take off after the nerfs hit. It's not a very cheap deck and it's running 4 legendaries in there, so definitely think twice before crafting it, but do know that all of the legendaries seem pretty worth so far. The 4th deck I think will have a very good time after the nerfs hit would be Lifesteal Demon Hunter. Stats here are very skewed, because the deck is very hard to pilot optimally, and the people that don't know how to play it are just ruining the stats for everyone else. But you can see that No Minion Mage is definitely gonna be a hard matchup for it. Same goes for Secret Paladin, Secret Libram Paladin is horrible, Miracle Rogue, and also Watchpost Rogue is not great either. There's not even enough stats for me to show you matchups for this deck, but you got the idea from the 5 most popular bad matchups for it. After the nerfs hit and all of those bad matchups go away, I really think it's gonna become a lot better here. This version is utilizing Teelan, which will always draw your Ilginat if you're in a hurry and you didn't get it from your skull, and you're also running the new talented Arcanist, which is giving you +2 spell power for your next spell, which optimally should be the Fellscream Blast, with a few Artificers attached to it for a huge amount of damage. The main problem with this deck is people don't know when to spend their combo pieces and when to save them, but if you master those traits, you're definitely gonna have a good time with this deck. It is currently running the Farwatch posts in there, but it's obviously not a core part of the deck and you can definitely switch it out for something else. And for the last deck on this list, I'm really not sure, but I think Rush Warrior might really become a thing afterwards. Again, right now it's doing horribly against No Minion Mage, situation is the same against Paladin, in both its forms. It's doing alright against Miracle Rogue, but it's not doing great against Watchpost Rogue. Again, not enough stats to show it from this section, but you got the idea. The deck is utilizing all of the watch posts, but even if the far watch post gets nerfed, I really think it's still gonna remain a part of this deck. Since you're so heavy on watch posts, you have Kargal naturally, and you're also running the new Outrider's War Axe, which is an excellent tool for card draw. Also, ETC God of Metal is in there for some extra damage, and all in all, you have plenty of rush synergies, which can go out of hand pretty fast. But yeah, I think that's gonna be it for this video, guys. Hope this gives you an idea of what the future meta might look like. Let me know in the comments below what your predictions are for the nerfed cards and also for the best decks after the nerfs. Thanks for watching, I'm Kris05, and I'll see you in my next video or stream.